All About Writing with Ben and Sara.
Welcome to All About Writing, the podcast that covers everything about the world of writing from the inside out. This is episode 62, part 10 on our series on the business of writing. I'm Ben, here with my co-host Sara, who is an award-winning, best-selling author, screenwriter, editor, and TED Talk presenter.
And I'm Sara, here with my co-host Ben, who is an award-winning best-selling author and ghostwriter, editor, and publisher. And today on this business of writing, we are going to dive into writer conferences. It's kind of one of those things when you're starting to look at like the next year of your writing plan, besides what you're going to write, maybe where you want to go. I'm doing this right now. Actually, I have a list of places I want to check out, maybe budget, figure out if it makes sense, and decide where I'm going to be going and where I'm going to be networking, essentially, as well as maybe learning some things. But we want to talk about this because we haven't talked about it yet. And I think there's a lot of people out there who, if they're new to writing, they hear about writing conferences, but maybe it's hard to pull the trigger because you don't really know what to expect. So, we both have been to many writer conferences.
Yeah, we sure have.
I would, do you think there's a couple of things that like we could say like these are like basics of what to expect so people know that they're even at a good one?
Yeah, it can be hard to tell because the writing conferences can be different sizes. You can get absolutely mega ones, and you can get really small, community ones put on by a library, and they can both be good. Some will have more people and bigger, more famous people there, sure, but even the small ones can still be valuable if you go in with the right attitude. And I guess that's what I want to talk about is what can you expect at writing conferences, and understand that each conference will be unique and each conference will have its own thing. Yeah, you're right. We've been to enough, all over the country, that we've seen that there's some similarities between them. And yeah, so let's just jump in. I guess one of the things that I like about writing conferences is that a lot of them have workshops. So if you're new to writing and you're just sort of getting started, they'll often have workshops on like what is plotting, how do you make great characters, what are the basics of marketing, things like that any author really should know. A conference will have workshops where you can just learn about the nuts and bolts of writing, and I think that can be really valuable.
I would also say that most writing conferences have, what I always expect is being able to network with other writers for sure. And that's weird to think like, oh, why do I need to network with other writers? And even if it's a conference that is a broad sweep, like all the genres are there, or you can go just for sci-fi, just for fantasy, just for romance, right? There are conferences that are just all of those. But you're creating bonds with other writers because at some point, you're going to want to be asking those writers maybe for blurbs for the front or back of your book.
Yeah.
You want them to read your book for you, to do some really lovely reviews on Amazon or Goodreads, and it'll carry more weight because they are, they're your genre, or they're someone you trust to give a good review or who will get you a blurb. So I do think that for me, it's networking amongst other authors and just having author friends that way. But also some conferences you can network with publishing professionals. So maybe they are marketing people who you can hire, or maybe they're agents or editors or publishers. And those relationships also can, really make or break your career if you happen to meet the right person. So for me, any conference is always worth its weight in gold because I walk away with contacts and networking. And that to me is so important.
Yeah, and it is something that a lot of authors may not initially appreciate as being valuable because, as writers, a lot of us are introverts and, I have to talk to people. I don't want to do that. But I find at conferences, most people are really friendly. They're really humble. Everybody's there to learn and just, sort of figure things out. And so even if you've just gotten started in your writing career, like you're just literally writing the first few words or thinking about writing, you can still meet people who are at the same place you are, or people who were where you are not long ago. And I find most people are really nice. I've never really found a lot of like competition or anything like that. People are just really collegial, really friendly, and so that is nice. And you mentioned, Sarah, agents. Yes, a lot of the bigger conferences, they invite agents to come. And that can be really valuable for an author because a lot of us as authors, we think of agents as sort of these distant, mystical people who, we must bow and scrape before as we hand offer up, our submission. These conferences can often let you see that agents are just real people. They're people like everybody else, and they're for the most part really nice people. They love writing and they love meeting people, and they're always looking for a good, um, a good story. Um, Certainly, yes, it's true. At some of the conferences, agents, when you just meet them out on the conference floor, they might have a bit of a barrier around them. That's probably just because they've been overwhelmed with people and they're human like anybody else. Okay, I just need some space. I just want to go and get a drink, or eat something. Please don't talk to me right now. And if so, respect that. But most of them will set up times where you can have an appointment with them. And having a face to face with an agent is such a powerful way to make that connection, like you were talking about, rather than just emailing in your submission. You actually get to look them in the eye. You know that they're going to read it, and you can ask questions and you can get feedback. And even if they're not interested, they'll tell you why. And that's valuable information right there.
Yeah. I mean, I so many relationships. Our relationship came from a writers conference. That's
Sure
where we
did.
met. So I think that that's important. And then also, you said workshops. For me, I think this is something that not every conference has, but depending on where you are in your writer's journey, there'll be like master classes or kind of more immersive workshops where you're really doing a deep dive in a topic, um and I think that that can be really helpful. I know I've done some that were totally eye-opening. So it changed how I looked at building character. It changed how I looked at all the characters. Or it changed, how I understood marketing to be utilized. um I think that depending on what you're needing in your journey as a writer, if they are offering some of those more immersive deep dives, that can be really valuable as well.
Absolutely. And I think one thing I like about conferences, particularly for people who are just getting into the industry, is that if you don't know what you need, well, go to a conference, and try a little bit of everything because there will probably be a bunch of things on offer. Yes, you can meet other authors, you can probably meet agents or at least editors, and maybe there'll be some workshops. Um, I'm trying to think of some of the things like as of course, being a publisher, I would sometimes go to these conferences on the other side, and I'd be the one giving the presentation. Like I know a talk that I gave for years was a no BS introduction to publishing, because as an author originally, I had learned so much being on the publishing side about how the industry really works, and I felt that nobody was talking about this, and so I would want to share the knowledge that I'd gained with other authors to empower them. And I find that most professionals are like that as well. Most publishers and most editors are the same. They're not trying to hide. They're not trying to be mysterious. They just have never had the chance to explain how they do what they do and why they do what they do. So that can be really fun, frankly, liberating for those of us who have been on the other side to be able to come and say, okay, here's how it really works. This is why I can't do that. That thing you want me to do, this is why I can't. And here's the real reason why. It's almost always money. But there it is.
Yeah, no, I think and also kind of giving yourself a place to go and be surrounded by other writers as a
Hmm.
writer is really it's something to look forward to. If it's January, you're looking ahead and going, okay, well, I'm going to go to a conference in June and October. So now you have something to look forward to. It also kind of might put a little fire in your belly to finish something so you can pitch it or you can submit it or you can there's a lot of these conferences will have connected competitions. So it's a way to get, some feedback and maybe some recognition for some work you're doing. So I
Yeah,
I
great.
think that is also another perk to going along, as well, besides just having something to look forward to, something to engage you and give you deadlines if you need that.
Yeah, yeah, no, a great motivation, and just sort of yeah, like a little boost, a little bit of recognition, a little bit of inspiration. Something else I just thought of too, as far as meeting people, a lot of big conferences, particularly the ones that specialize in one genre, will often invite big authors from that genre to come and speak. And so, you can actually meet your heroes sometimes. Um, I mean, like Diana Gabaldon is a regular at a conference that I go to here on the West Coast. David Weber, Steven Erickson, David Brin, like those last three are sci-fi and fantasy authors. For those who don't know, well, actually, all four of them are. But like these are huge, huge authors in their fields, and I'm not saying that you have the chance to like pitch them or anything like that. No, but you have a chance just to meet them. You can meet them and talk to them and realize they're all super nice people. And maybe go to a panel where they're talking. It can be just a real thrill to meet some of the titans of the genre that you write in.
And that reminded me then of something too. A lot of times, conferences, if you already have books published, conferences will have book events where either they're bringing in readers to do book signings with authors and you can sell your books, or they'll have like a little bookstore area where you can bring some of your books and sell on consignment to other authors or to, the public. If they're opening up to the public, every conference is a little different that way, but it's another way to just get some exposure in an area, in a market that you wouldn't normally kind of have immediate access to, as readers or as bookstores. I mean, I've been in conferences where after the conference, the bookstores will stock my books for a while.
Yeah,
That's really cool. It's otherwise, it never would happen otherwise. So I think that, bottom line for me, really what all these things are is book conferences are a way to get out of your office and network and stay inspired from the craft to the business to the marketing to the people. It's just, I think it's like a healthy thing we can do as authors for ourselves if we
yeah,
keep doing it.
absolutely. Any chance you have as an author to get out and talk to other authors, I would suggest take it. Again, a lot of us are introverts and we think we don't want to, but I have never regretted it. I've always met nice people at every conference I've been to, some of whom have become really good friends, some of whom become podcast partners. It really is nice. And you feel, I don't know, you feel like a pro, even if you're not published yet, but you're just there with the other authors. And oh yeah, I'm an author and I'm with the other authors and this is so cool. And you can feel really good about yourself. So I encourage everyone, if you're looking at what you want to do this year with your writing plan, definitely take a look at any writing conferences that are in your area, either in your city or in your state, and somewhere that you can get to, reasonably easily, and go. Sign up. It'll cost you a few bucks to go. Maybe 75, $100 type thing, but it'll be well worth it. I highly encourage everyone to go check out writing conferences.
Agreed.
Okay, well
Oh,
that's it. I think we're done.
yes. Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
All right. All right, we'll call that our show for today, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate you being here. And please remember to subscribe so you don't miss any of our chats. And if you want to, please leave a review because it really does help us a lot. And if otherwise you want to catch up with Sara, you can catch her at saradahman.com and on Instagram.
And you can find Ben at bennettrcoles.com as well as on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for joining us again today. Please reach out if there are any topics you want us to cover. And otherwise, we will see you again when we next chat all about writing.
This has been All About Writing with Ben and Sara.